प्रकाशस्य रूपमधिकम् प्रच्छन्नगुप्तं धनम् विद्या भोगकरी यशः सुखकरी विद्या गुरुणा गुरुः विद्या बन्धुजनो विदेशगमने विद्या परं दैवतम् विद्या राजसु पूज्यते न तु धनम् विद्या विहीनः पशुः विद्या प्रशस्यते लोकैः विद्या सर्वत्र गौरवा विद्यया लभते सर्वम् विद्वान् सर्वत्र पूज्यते ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते।
Dr. Shivaji Pawar has done his Masters in Economics, Bachelor of Education, Master of Philosophy in Economics, and has qualified the UGC National Eligibility Test. He also holds a Ph.D. degree in the subject of Business Economics. He has been working as an assistant professor since 1997. Currently, he is the Vice Principal and Head of the Department for Department of Economics at the Mulund College of Commerce. He is Ph.D. guide at the Research Center in Commerce in the subject of Business Economics. Under his guidance, 3 students have registered. He is the member of the Board of Studies in Business Economics in University of Mumbai. He is also a Vice Chancellor nominee on the Board of Studies as well as member in various autonomous colleges in Mumbai. He has published several research papers in national and international journals. His inclination and love for teaching has made his roots strong in the field of education. He has completed his doctoral journey in mere span of 5 years. His study focused on knowing the overall understanding of economic stability of the self-help group members in Maharashtra state and how SHG lay their impact on the beneficiaries of this scheme. In order to know and examine the same, he collected, analyzed, and interpreted primary data from the beneficiaries who had already availed the benefits of the scheme. Through his study, he has also strived to provide suggestions to the policymakers of the scheme. Let's welcome Vidyavachaspati, Dr. Shivaji Pawar.
Namaskar. Today I am going to talk about my PhD thesis report, that is towards a sustainable society, the role of the self-help group as a catalyst for economic stability, with special reference to the self-help groups in Maharashtra. My research study period was 2002-2012. The concept of the origin SHG is that in recent years the government of India and state governments have initiated a number of measures for development of the women empowerment. These measures include granting a variety of special concessions, incentives, subsidies and assistance of varied nature, financial, technical, organizational and managerial supports. When women are empowered, a stable society is assured. It is essential as their thoughts and their value system lead to the development of the good family, good society, and ultimately a good nation. Globally, Bangladesh has acknowledged as a pioneer in the field of the microfinance. Dr. Mahmood Yunus, Professor of Economics in Chittagaon University of Bangladesh, was an initiator of an action research project Grameen Bank for the upliftment of the poor. The project started in 1976 and it was formally recognized as a bank through an audience issued by the government in 1983. Even then, it does not have scheduled status from the central bank of the country, the Bangladesh Bank. The Grameen Bank provides loans to the landless poor, particularly women, to promote self-employment. The end of the December 2001, it had the membership of the 23.78 lakh and cumulative microcredit disbursement 14.653 crores. In the early 1980s, in India, National Bank for the Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD, conducted a series of the research studies independently in association with the MyREDA, a leading non-governmental organization to study rural credit. The studies found that through the network of the rural bank branches were trying to create self-employment opportunities by providing the bank credit. A large number of the poor population did not even have access to the banking system. NABARD recommended that alternative policy system and the procedures should be put in the place in order to achieve the objective of the financial inclusion. Since then, the concept of the self-help group gathered momentum with the large majority started by the women's group. The introduction of my PhD report indicates that self-help group is voluntarily association of the women or men residing in a given area formed domestically and without any political association. According to the NABARD, self-help group is homogeneous group of the rural poor voluntarily formed to save whatever amount they can conveniently save out of their earnings and mutually agree to contribute the common fund of the group to be lent to their member for meeting their productive and the emergent credit needs. Self-help group is a trust, belief and conviction that the community, no matter how backward, has resources that can be mobilized for meeting individuals' local needs, that of the community for making local improvements and bringing about the social change. Objectives of the study: the role of the self-help group in India has recognized worldwide as a revolutionary and proper economic activity and as efficient mode of the finance to reduce the poverty by generating employment and income. As a large of the resources, including World Bank funding of the microcredit flow, is routed through the self-help groups. This study has been initiated with the primary aim to analyze the economic stability, standard of living and the financial awareness of the self-help group members after joining the self-help groups in Maharashtra. Keeping this in mind, the researchers were drawn as specific objectives of the study. The important objective of the study was economic stability by studying the standard of living of the self-help group members. To study the improvement in the financial position of a member after becoming a member of the self-help groups. To study the awareness about the financial services of the microfinance through the SHG. At the same time, researchers had decided to find out the problems of the SHG members in achieving the economic stability and suggest the suggestions to overcome these problems. The importance of my study area was self-help group promotes to save at least some amount of the money regularly and use that amount to invest in some income generating activities. Self-help groups are directly associated to anti-poverty agenda and hence SHG have been considered as a fundamental building block of the strong institutional design for the poor. Within this broad framework, it is not yet categorically ascertained whether the SHG have emerged as a livelihood institutions for the poor by achieving the sustainability economically for the members of the SHG or not. I have decided to conduct the survey of the entire Maharashtra. So my study area was the Maharashtra. There is an overall growth and the expansion of the self-help group activity across the country, and there were some states have been developed through the SHG movement. Maharashtra was one of the state considered as a priority state. As per the findings of the NABARD report 2012 and 13, there was potential of the 97.2 lakhs of the rural households to be covered under the self-help group model. Out of 36 districts, 22 districts were coming under low coverage area where there is a scope for the self-help groups to develop in Maharashtra. I had used the stratified sampling method for collection of the data from the Maharashtra. Under the stratified sampling method, the reason behind this, to conduct the study or the collected the research from the entire Maharashtra, it was very difficult. So I had chosen the 5 administrative regions of the Maharashtra such as Konkan, Marathwada, North Maharashtra, Vidarbha, Western Maharashtra. And from these 5 administrative regions, each regions I had collected the large SHG members districts such as Thane from the Konkan, Marathwada from the Nanded from the Marathwada, Nashik from the North Maharashtra, Nagpur from the Vidarbha, and Solapur from the Western Maharashtra. From each administrative regions, I had selected the 200 sample respectively. For my research area, I have defined the variables for studying the SHG members' economic stability, such as age of the respondents, marital status of the respondents, religion of the respondents, caste-wise distribution of the respondents, educational status of the respondents, institutional support to the self-help groups, status of the respondents in SHG, earning members, non-earning members, income respondents, consumption expenditure of the respondents, etc. The researchers, after collecting the data, found that religion-wise distribution of the respondents. So from this table, we can realize that the Buddhist is the dominant religion. It means the majority of the members of the SHG are socially backward people, because self-help group is the movement and it tries to uplift the socio-economic welfare of the members of the society who are socially backward and the economically weak, followed by the Hindu. The maximum percentage, 46.1% of the self-help groups comes from this particular region. In case educational status of the respondents, the researchers found that most of the SHG members or the women members had the higher secondary educations, means the 12th class, and followed by the graduation, that is 17.5%. Researchers also observed that the institutional support to the self-help groups. It was found that public sector and the cooperative banks contribution is significant to provide the institutional support of the SHG and its members in the Maharashtra, and followed by the public and the cooperative banks. From these institutional supports, the banks contribution to the SHG members, the researchers had observed that Bank of Maharashtra provided the maximum financial support to the SHG, and that percentage is 36.6% and followed by the 12.6% by the central bank. In case earning and the non-earning family member status, after studying, it was found that 74.7%, that is the maximum families, had the single earning female members, and 73.8% maximum families had the single earning male family members. Number of the single family children, that is higher percentage, 97.2% is more than the male, that is 94.7%, and number of the single child family is more, as the number of the family had more than the children. Income wise classification observed by the researcher, and through this it comes to know that respondents had more personal income after joining the SHG than before joining the SHG, because 71.1% of the respondents had their income between 6,001 rupees and above after joining the SHG, and only 55.7% respondents had their income in the same group before joining the SHG. The researcher also observed that the level and the pattern of the consumption expenditure of the respondents before and after joining the SHG. Respondents had been spending more consumption expenditure after joining the SHG than before joining the SHG. The reason is that 21.9% of the respondents had been spending on the consumption expenditure between rupees 3001 to rupees 12,000 after joining the SHG, and only 5.1% respondents had been spending on the consumption expenditure in same expenditure group before joining the self-help groups. The researchers examined that the distribution of the respondents on the basis of the education expenditure. It was found that respondents had been spending more on the education after joining the SHG than before joining the SHG. The reason is that 3.1% of the respondents had been spending on education between rupees 3001 and above after joining the self-help groups, and only 0.5% respondents had been spending on the education between same expenditure group before joining the SHGs. The researcher also observed that the total expenditure pattern of the respondents, and the major findings was respondents had been incurring more total expenditure after joining the self-help groups than the before joining the self-help groups, because average total expenditure of the respondents was rupees 6,422.43 before joining the SHG and was rupees 8,354.37 after joining the self-help groups. Researchers also prepared the Likert scale for analyzing the beneficiaries' perceptions about the various policies of the SHGs. In this case, the 6 important areas already found, that is respondents' participation in the decision making at the community level, where the highest 64.8% respondents agreed about their participation in the decision making has improved lot. In case increased participation and the decision making at the democracy level, almost here also the highest number, that is 63.5% respondents, shows that their positive response for this particular perception. Increase in the access of the basic need to the family after joining the SHG, the 65.2% respondents agreed for this perception. Equal access and the control over the resources at the household level, here that is 53.9%, means highest percentage showed their positive response. After joining the SHG, significant increase in the women's income. In this case, 82.6% means the highest percentage, showing that after joining the SHG, the income level of the women is showing the increasing trend. At the same time, researcher also observed through this scale, that is after joining the SHG, increased awareness in the health, education and the environment. In this case also the highest percentage, that is 84.4%, women showed the positive response. After studying as well as collecting the survey, researchers collected the responses from the respondents, where the SHG members or the women also facing the many problems, such as to start the businesses, the self-help groups members not found the place, and here the percentage 6.6% women facing this problem. At the same time, inadequate capital, that is 0.1% was 5.1%, inadequate capital and the difficulty in the monthly payment. To collect the money every month is very difficult. The reason we know that these are the rural women finding the very difficult to give the monthly installment to the self-help groups. Then the absenteeism in the meetings, almost 4.2%. Absenteeism in the meetings and the installments are not paid in time, irregular repayment, hard document procedure. These are the various problems found after studying the respondents' problems. Major findings was that only 10.4% respondents, that is maximum, were facing the problem of the irregular repayment of the loan in the SHG, because the 72.4% had not faced any problem after joining the self-help groups. After studying the entire survey on the self-help groups in Maharashtra, to overcome these problems, the researchers suggested some suggestions to the various authorities such as the NABARD, even the banks, etc. The suggestions are indicating that the loan amount receiving by the SHG members is very limited. So therefore the bank should expand the loan limit for the self-help groups. We found that after studying the self-help groups situation, the banks always charging the higher rate of interest while dispersing the loan. So banks should reduce the rate of interest on the loan, so thereby the SHG members will get the loan at the very much fair price, so they can start their business in the very lower cost of the production. Most of the members of the SHGs are untrained for business because they are not getting the appropriate training from the banks, even the NGOs and the government. Therefore NGOs, banks and the government should have more training camps, so thereby SHG members or the women's getting the proper training, and through this training they can also start the businesses. Banks' participation in the SHG movement is very limited. Therefore the banks should increase their participation in the development of the self-help groups. Research also found that the very important problem, that is the self-help groups, even to start the business, they didn't have any space. So the suggestion is that the government should provide the sufficient space to start the businesses. Most of the central and the state government schemes are not able to approach the self-help group members. Therefore state and the central government should take the initiatives to avail the various schemes to the SHG members. The contribution in the saving by the SHG members is limited. Therefore they are not getting the sufficient loan from the banks. Thus the proportion of the saving by the self-help group members should be increased. Most of the members of the SHG were unable to repay the loan to the bank in time because of their financial conditions very poor. Therefore the government should give the subsidy on the bank loan to the members of the SHG. Banks also should follow the liberal process while facilitating the various bank services for the development of the SHGs. The reason is that here I found that while collecting the data from the respondents, many women states that is the bank offices not providing the liberal conditions to the sanctioning the loan. Maximum paperwork is there, and we all are aware about that. The SHG members, most of the SHG members are illiterate. So the bank should available the sufficient branches and the bank facilities in the rural areas, so SHG members can access the banks for getting the credit. Even it was observed that the authority of the banks or even the officers cannot behave properly with the customers. So they should be create the good and healthy relationship with the bank customers. It will help in the bank's development. Bank should also extend its timing and should make it convenient for the SHG members, because we all are aware about that the bank's time is almost 9 to 3 p.m. and at this time most of the female members are very busy in their housework. So therefore the timing of the bank should be changed, especially for the self-help group members. Self-help groups should also get the loan for the business purpose, and government, banks, media and the private business organization should available free and sufficient information of the government schemes which is applicable to the self-help groups. Government, banks, media and the private business organization should available free and the sufficient information of the self-help employment guarantee schemes, because most of the times the rural poor women not getting the information about the various government schemes and they are very far from the government benefits. I conclude my report of the PhD with the few lines. There had been many success stories recorded. The growth as well as the problems have many facets. This study concentrates on the sustainability through the economic stability and gives definite results to deduce clearly about the improvement of the economic and the social status of the members. At the same time, the study opens the door for the more studies on the different threats of the SHGs in Maharashtra. Thank you.
ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते